HE shells and artillery combined tests is here, and today I'll tell you why I think going forward it doesn't make much positive impact to the game. I put out a poll and 75% of my viewers would have preferred to see Wargaming fix matchmaking, tank balance, and EBRs. Wiki Baby even put out a poll and 80% of his subs said that this would make the game worse. As you may know, the final test was supposed to include Crew 2.0, but because the community shit on it, they've decided to pull it and take it back to the drawing board. Now, Wargaming claims HE shells rework and artillery nerf are well received, so they will push on towards implementing these changes into the game in the very near future. Now, I've been playing this game forever, and it's true, players have been complaining about Arty for the longest time. The other complaints are matchmaker balance, tank balance, and the latest of course is the EBR issues. I'm pretty sure some people complain about HE balance too, and maybe 2 people complain about crew. Instead, what have Wargaming done is invested all this energy into the new interface for Crew 2.0, a whole bunch of crew mechanics that will add more RNG into the game, in my opinion, and they market it as quote-unquote diversity because diversity sounds cool and woke, I suppose. I don't know. So let's break down HE and RT nerf. Here's the problem with the HE rebalance. HE rebalance is a direct buff for heavy tanks because HT's heavy tanks are the main recipients of HE shells, right? They receive the most damage from HE shells, people trying to dig them out or try to chip away at their hit points. The inability of HE effectiveness will indirectly improve heavy tank performance without addressing overpowered armored tanks like 279Es and chieftains, etc. I mean, there's a myriad of heavy tanks in whatever class you are, in whatever tier you are playing. The HE rebalance will only make these already strong heavy tanks even stronger heavy tanks. Remember, during the HE sandbox test, including the final test, they even excluded the 279Es and chieftains. Why? Those are precisely the tanks that you want to test against, right? 279Es, chieftains, these are the main guys why people are shooting HEs in the first place. In the RT nerf test, the reduced damage output is much more welcomed by the players. The main problem is that you'll still have to endure 3 RTs per game, and that's not fun. You're still gonna get shot by 3 RTs, even though it's for less damage. If you are the main heavy tank, top tier, the slowest tank, you're gonna get peppered with artillery shells, which is the main gripe of the community. If they limit the RTs to a maximum of 2 per team, this would greatly improve the happiness and well-being of the players. I mean, it's a simple fix, and it is unanimously supported by the community. I think so anyway. Next, with HE and RT nerfed, who else will benefit? MTs and light tanks, of course. Medium tanks and light tanks will have less resistance. They will be able to advance with more freedom at a lower risk to their health, right? Because they're going to take less damage from the new HE nerfs, So yeah, but you know, all this is not without a cause. I mean, you can, you know, you can have an advantage in your medium tank and your light tank, but now you need a new skill called sound detection, so that you can get advanced notice of artillery fire. What does this mean? It means spend more gold for this quote-unquote skill, make you a better player. Which brings us to a more pressing issues of matchmaker balance, tank balance, and EBRs. That's my opinion anyway. Or if I were to stack them in order of importance, I'd say the EBRs is more important first, and then matchmaker balance, and then the individual tank balance. I would put that in third position. Right now, EBRs are just too important. They make all the other light tanks ineffective. I mean, I won't say that all the other light tanks in the game are useless, because some players can still overcome the performance deficit, you know, with their skill and experience. But we all know that EBRs, you know, it's the king. And if your team has one more EBR than the enemy team, you'll probably win the game. Right, your team will probably win the game if you have one extra EBR. If your team has a pro EBR, you'll probably win the game too. The EBRs need to be balanced against Sheridans, RHMs, the RHM Panzerwagen. Make them comparable in ability. The way, you know, that way there will be more people playing other light tanks besides the EBR. I want to see people playing the WZs. I want to see people playing more of the PZWs. Once again, fairly simple fixes. No need for new user interface, no need for new skills, no need for new mechanics, no need for new meta. The EBR, make them play like regular light tanks. Give them the same speed. You know, the only difference between EBRs and other light tanks should be the wheels. The way you drive the tank. You need to, for you to turn the tank, you need to be going forward and going backward to turn the EBRs. That's the only difference, the way it works. But you should keep the speed, same speed as regular light tanks. You should have the same camo values. You should have the same view range as other light tanks. Otherwise, you're not going to see people play LT100s anymore. Nobody's going to play the Chinese light tank anymore. Nobody's going to play the Panzerwagen anymore. So that's not fun. Everybody's got to play the EBR in order to have a chance of, you know, winning the game for your team. So do something about the EBRs. The game in its current state, you know, is by design, not by chance. EBRs exist to speed up the game. Huge damage tanks exist to speed up the game. The devs are trying to make to balance fun while trying to make the game quicker, so that you turn over the game quicker, improve the income per minute ratio. If I can take you back to 2014 and play World of Tanks, I think it would be more fun. Light tanks were maxed out at tier 8s. Tier 5 Chaffies would meet tier 10s. Arty could one-shot you. I could spot 11,000 assisted damage in my tier 6 5916. You could get clipped out by a tier 10 heavy tank, you know, by a Waffenträger E100. You know, there were less tanks in the game back then, and probably easier to balance the matchmaker. EBRs did not exist, and most light tanks were playable and almost equal. Well, more or less equal. The T54 lightweight might have been a little bit more powerful than the RU251 or the T4049 or the 1390, but they offered real diversity. Yes, the T54 lightweight was a little bit more biased, but in general it was still, the other tanks were still playable against the T54 lightweight. Yes, in 2021 the game has grown in many ways, offering so many different tanks, so many different game modes, but there has been but has the playing experience improved? You can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. You know what I'm saying? In 2014, the game was very unbalanced. Tier 5s matching with Tier 10s, OP tanks like Waffenträgers, Arty could one-shot you, but 2014 gameplay, you still had thrills, you still had exhilaration, you still had unpredictability, but the simplicity of the game made the players focus on playing the game. The game did not force you to become some unwitting researcher, or you needed to get a PhD in World of Tanks in order to play it. You don't need to spend a lot of time in the garage moving Bond equipment around or collecting demount kits. You don't need to read up on how to make the most of qualifications in ranked battle mode. You didn't need to research how to game the system for maximum efficiency. If it's in wargaming's interest to make the people play quicker or have a faster turnaround time, it makes sense to simplify the game, to get people out of the garage quicker and into the game faster. People spend too much time figuring out things, and with Crew 2.0 they're gonna spend even more time in the garage, because Crew 2.0, it's like a whole new game mode on its own, right? So in closing, I didn't think Sandbox made a very impactful change to the game. I hope Crew 2.0 is scrapped into the bin. I hope it never comes back, because it is adding even more RNG into the game. If they really wanted to listen to the players, then do what they ask for instead of creating more problems for yourself in the future. Or who knows, maybe that was the that was the forehead master plan. Maybe more problems means they have something to fix in the future. I don't know, man. You tell me what you think. Anyway, this was my CGC gameplay. 4000 damage plus, still a pretty effective tank even in the sandbox with all the nerfs. Not as effective as it is currently in the game. The CGCs are slightly nerfed, but you still can get out some big damage output games occasionally. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and my point of view. Let me know what you think, and I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.